Alright, so today we're going to be redoing a Jeep J10 tailgate. I've had this tailgate here for 2 years. I bought it just after I bought this truck. I found a parts truck locally and the guy sold me the tailgate for 50 bucks. As you can see, the sheet metal in the center has been replaced and the sheet metal behind it is completely gone. I primed it this color, but it was 3 shades of black and red and blue when I got it. And the biggest issue is truly the amount of rot that's across the bottom. That whole bottom round portion of the tailgate, I completely filled with Bondo. You can see through here, all that is Bondo. Every last bit of that. See, and there's a section that I missed where the Bondo fell out of. Down through there, it's in rough shape. The top's all dented up. So anyway, yesterday I happened to be on Facebook Marketplace early in the morning, and popped up for 150 bucks a tailgate and the last 8-inch section of the bed. The fella cut the bed apart on his J10 truck because it wasn't any good, and was selling the tailgate on the section here where your the bed ends, where your tail lights come in at on both sides. About 3 hours away, so I went over and picked it up, and the tailgate is in far better shape than my tailgate. So today we're going to be doing some minimal rust repair, a little bit of repair on the latch. I'll show you what's up with the latch on it, and then we're going to be prepping it for paint. We're just going to shoot it with the same orange primer, and that way it half matches until you get the truck painted, and we'll throw it on here. So let me go show you what I got. Oh, also, the good thing is about it coming with the side portions of the bed, somebody at some point in time has cut off the latch hoop on my bed right here, so now I can take a grinder and whack that off. I'll cut it off of the donor piece, weld that on, that way I can have latches on both sides. So anyway, I'll take you out and show you the other tailgate, and we'll get started on it. Okay, so here's what we came up with. Got basically the whole back section of the bed and the whole tailgate. So now, which is kind of nice because I was needing these panels anyway. These lower sections of each side are kind of rotted out on my truck, so body man can use that and not have to make a panel or have to pay crazy amounts of money for a body panel. Tailgate is in really good shape, minus the latch having some issues, and the only real rust hole is, let's see, can I show you where it's laying at now? Let me get down here and look. Right here in the center. Right there is about the only rust. So we should be able to replace and put some sheet metal around that and fix it. There might be a rust hole right there. I can't tell if that's just a couple layers of paint peeled up or if there's a little bit of Bondo there, and if there's just a little bit of Bondo there, we'll see how bad it is to replace. We might stick a little bit of Bondo back in it. But the first thing we're going to have to do today is work on this latch. Now, I'll set you up over here and I'll show you what's wrong with the latch handle. It should be fixable. Alright, so here's the latch, and here's the problem with the latch. As you can see right there, there's a crack in the sheet metal that the latch mounts to. And then down here on the bottom, there's essentially a crack right there too. So what we're going to try to do, the latch is free and everything works appropriately, which this is basically just a lever there that has a little dog leg that pulls on that portion you just saw on the top of the tailgate. So what we're going to do, we're going to clamp this down here into this shelf, and we're going to try to weld those couple cracks in place and grind them down, make them look halfway decent. So let me get the camera set up and we'll give it a shot. Alright, so here's what we ended up with, and I know my welding's not the best. But there's those two cracks repaired on both sides. And then here's this crack repaired. It needs a little bit more grinding there to clean it up a little bit on the bottom side. So I ain't no welder and don't claim to be, but that's a half decent repair. It shouldn't break again. Alright, moving forward. Okay, so the next step here is going to be right above the handle. We've got a crack in this top of this round sheet, and we're going to try to weld that back together and grind it off so it looks a little bit better than, you know, having a big crack, because I'm sure that'll only get worse. So we'll hit it with the grinder here, get the camera set up, and we'll try to tack it back together. Hopefully I don't really mess up these welds. Alright, okay, I've been trying to repair this, and what turned into an easy weld up the little crack and grind it down turned into burning a bunch of holes in it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try to cut some of this out of there with the cutoff wheel, and we're going to use some of this other sheet metal I've got laying around that's come off this stuff I bought yesterday to try to make a patch. So we'll see, it's going to get even worse now. Hopefully we can get it working good. Okay, I cut out the bed here, tried welding that crack up. It ended up being a disaster. I got a piece of metal here that I'm about to bend to the semi-contour of the tailgate. The top of the tailgate does have some dents in it, but that's to be expected for a 50-year-old vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead, bend that, cut it to fit there, try to get some time lapse of welding it in. Hopefully it doesn't just burn straight through all the metal. Alright, I know it's scary looking, but there I got our patch welded in. Now I'm going to hit it with the grinder and see if we got any pinholes through the rusty metal to see if that actually worked or if we're going to have to grind it off again. So So I'll catch y'all up in a second. Sorry, this camera's not working right today. I don't know what the deal is. Alright, I got my patch in as good as it can go. Every time I grind back down, every time I weld any more around the patch, try to seal up any little pinholes I've got, I'm just blowing bigger holes through it. So metal's thin, and this cheap Harbor Freight welder won't turn down the heat anymore. So like I said, it's not the best thing for sheet metal. So I'll probably go over across that right there with just a little thin film of Bondo just to seal it up, give it a little bit more, you know, just kind of seal it up so you ain't getting water down in between them pinholes and stuff. Gonna flip it over and do a repair on the bottom side now. Hopefully it goes better than this. I fought this for about 2 hours, chasing around, blowing holes through it, blowing holes through it, blowing holes through it, sealing it up, grinding it back down smooth. Oh no, blowed a hole through it. So, like I said, I'm not very good with body work, but we're just trying to get this tailgate buttoned up pretty decent. So, alright, flip it over and we'll start. Alright, so here's what we're looking at on the back side. I'm going to try to bend. I'm just going to plate over it because it shouldn't affect how the tailgate falls if I just plate over top of it. So, we're going to get started and we'll try to get it welded in here. Hopefully there's a little bit more metal here to be had. Okay, we got our patch in on the bottom. I shot it with some primer just to keep it from rusting. I had to do something else for a little while. So, probably gonna come back through. This went in pretty well. It doesn't line up perfect, but it's on the bottom, so it'll be okay. It's kind of a bump there. Might take a little bit of Bondo and kind of smooth that body line down a little bit. But next thing we're going to do is we're going to get up here on this handle and the latch mechanism. So, on this latch, obviously the pulling on it of the actual latch housing that we welded and fixed earlier this morning. So now that I'm looking at it, yeah, it should hold just fine. The issue yesterday when I was trying to open it off of that stuff, off of the portion of the bed that came with it, was that the handle was flexing so much it wasn't moving this bar right here, this pivot. So somebody, obviously the 50-year-old clips are off the end of these two rods here that worked. Somebody way back in the day decided that if you just put a roll of duct tape around this, you know, there's no way for it to fall out. And actually it works really well. But what I'm going to do is keep that from coming off. I'm going to put some zip ties in it around it because it's working really well. And then the other rod, we're going to have to come up with something to keep it from falling back out too. So we'll get that together. We'll oil everything up in there because we're not going to be painting in here. And then we'll put the latch back on and see if it works. So here we go. Okay, I took some fuel line and zip tied it around that rod. That way it holds itself up through that hole a little bit better since we don't have the clips for it. So that should work if duct tape was working for 20 or 30 years. Alright, we're going to reassemble the latch, see if it works. Okay, I got the handle mounted on there. Functions freely. I've got to get 2 more of those little E-clippy things so I can put those other 2 screws in it. But as far as I can tell, it's working. Let me try to put you down here so you can see that it's working too. Hold on just 1 second. There's the latch. There's that side. And here's this side. This is really hard to do all back assward like this. Alright, there you go. It's working. It was filmed horribly. Okay. Went to the parts store and was able to get some of these sprung nut things. I don't know what the real name of these are. Let's see. They call them speed nuts. Clip-on speed nuts. It's a lazy excuse for a nut cert, I guess. So we'll go ahead and pull these other two off. And I got a set. I thought I had some 1/4 20 bolts over here, but I went ahead and bought some because you can always use extra 1/4 20 bolts. So we'll go ahead and pull these last couple of little clippy deals off. Make sure this thing's still working. Appears to be working. And there we go. That's the latch repaired, mounted and functioning, and 2 metal patches. We'll call her good for this video, and the next one will be doing the body work, sanding this thing down. Well, we're going to put a little bit thin film of filler over top of these couple metal patches we did. Do some body work with some filler here where they had some filler before, because it looks like this is kind of concave. I don't exactly know why they did that there. There's no rot. But anyway, next video we're going to sand it down, paint it. Y'all have a good one.